when I saw the title, I thought that maybe more than complex TAVR cases, I'm going to share with you my experience with transcatheter mitral valve replacement case. I don't know. It's not moving? Okay. So everything started with cardiac Q. In 2015, I had a short experience with 4 cardiac Q implanted, 2 transapical, 2 transfemoral. And when we want to go to the transfemoral, we had to face some issue, and the biggest issue was that a 30 French and a 7 centimeter rigid capsule have to cross and to navigate in the heart. So this was what my plan, and because of my experience with aortic valve, I decided to use the snare, but placing the snare for a different direction. So I planned to transeptal puncture in 2 different positions with accurate pre-plan with CT scan and with echo. And this is the result. So this is the first patient now. So while advancing the valve, very big, very stiff, I was pulling with the cutter with the snare, because this was quite traumatic. It was the first time, but it works very well. And now this patient is more than 3 years of follow-up, and is riding his bicycle, is going very, very well. The second patient, because we had some acceleration, but we closed with a device. Second patient was much better because we learned how to manage all the catheter, all the wires. So it was much smoother, the implantation. And also, as you can see, the septum damage was much less. And this is the result. But, you know. Now, back with this experience, I use this technique also with valving ring. I use here a melody valve, which is not sealable. The reason was, one was because it's very expensive, the Edwards one, but also it's not the only reason. And this patient had a very difficult transeptal puncture because was a patient who had aortic bioprosthesis 30 years before, made a Carpentier, and also this annular ring. The mitral valve became very stenotic. The septum was very calcific. And for doing the transeptal puncture, I used 2 10 French and 12 French respectively silver cutter, and I used a very stiff wire, which is the Terumo wire. I was able to cross the septum to the left with the balloon because I was not able to cross with the catheter. I used the balloon as a nose cone, and I was able to perform the procedure. And this is the steps. The snare, in this case, helped me in orienting the valve. So the snare is very important. That is not a simple snare, but I'm placing the snare inside a silver cutter. So in this way, we can really orientate the snare in the left atrium. But where the snare was really helpful for me was this case. Is a patient with a severe mitral metastatic mitral stenosis. I always use the double transeptal technique, put a snare in the silver cutter, and then I advanced the melody valve, orienting in the valve. So in this case, I was able to adjust better the snare position, and that's the nose cone. So it was okay, but as you can see on the other video, the valve was not well positioned because for several reasons. One, because the balloon was a little bit too behind the stent, and the other because it was very stenotic, the valve. So after different attempts, with the snare, I was able to collapse the valve on the balloon, so they're using the diameter. But despite a lot of effort, I was not able to cross the mitral prosthesis. So what I've done in this case, I put inside the 12 French silver cutter parallel to the snare another wire. I dilate the valve. So I prepare the valve better, and then Sorry, I have to go back. Okay. So you can see on the right side of the screen, with the help of the snare and the help of the balloon, I was able to reposition the valve in the correct position because the valve was prepared. And so I solved this big problem. And this is the final result. Now the patient has almost 2 years of follow-up. So conclusion is that having two devices in the left atrium, especially in a very complex case, can help us to for avoiding some to solve some complication. And in this case, if I didn't have the silver cutter and the snare inside the left atrium, I wouldn't be able to solve the problem and to proceed to the successful procedure. Thank you for your attention.
All right, fantastic.